Hey everybody, Jason Pecor here from Alorium Technology. It's a bit of a gloomy Sunday morning, so I thought it'd be a great time to come in and put together a video demonstration for you, because what I want to do is we want to start building a platform where we can demonstrate the power that FPGAs can bring to your Arduino-based projects, or even some of the things that you may be already doing with FPGAs, but you want to be able to include some of the Arduino functionality, and you want to be able to connect it to the internet through some kind of IoT framework. And this idea really got started about a month or so ago when I posted a video talking about how I wanted to use a particle electron board in conjunction with either an Accelerate or one of our upcoming snowboards to connect through cellular and be able to monitor some sensors, maybe do some control. Well, that project isn't finished yet, and really what I'm going to show today is a bit of a precursor to that, because we're going to be using our Accelerate board with a Particle Photon instead and just connect directly through Wi-Fi. Now, one of the things I do want to say is I posted a picture about a couple of weeks ago, I think, of this setup as I was getting it ready on Facebook, kind of giving a bit of a teaser for it. And someone asked the question, hey, why would I put my Mocha next to my electronics? That seems like a bad practice. And I want to assure you that nothing like that actually goes on in our engineering labs or in our test facilities here. But this is a sales and marketing office, so I have a little bit of latitude. Plus, I was really thirsty for a Mocha on that Friday afternoon. I want to assure you also that no electronics were hurt in the filming of this video, nor in the shooting of that picture. So let's go ahead and get started. I'll show you what I've put together, and hopefully you can find it pretty interesting. And we're going to be releasing some subsequent videos here that show how to further use this and really actually take better advantage of the power of the FPGA that is on Accelerate. So thanks for joining and watching the video. I appreciate it. Let's go ahead and get started. Well, the first thing I want to do is provide a quick overview of our hardware setup. We are, of course, featuring our Accelerate board as part of this video. And Accelerate is connected to a Particle Photon, which is sitting right here behind it. It's connected across I2C. And in order to make things look nice and pretty, we've added an Adafruit NeoPixel ring. Finally, we need some way to be able to generate data that we can visualize. So we've added another Adafruit part. It's their ADXL345 breakout board. I'm just going to be able to move this around by hand here, and this will generate data that we can show on the website. The breakout is connected to the Accelerate board with this wiring harness across SPI. So SPI is the interface we're using in this particular case, and then the data is sent from Accelerate back to the Particle Photon using I2C, as I mentioned before, and Photon is handling sending everything to the cloud, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later in the video. So let's go and jump into it. The first thing I want to do is introduce the platform that I'm using for this demonstration for doing our data visualization and control. And it's a platform called Ubidots. And I really like this one. There are a lot of IoT platforms out there. They seem to be coming out of the woodwork, and each of them has their own feature set that are unique. They seem to each kind of lean one way or the other towards supporting certain types of hardware. What I wanted to find was something that supported both Particle and the Arduino ecosystem fairly well, so that I could use either Accelerate board or the Particle board and have things connect and just be easy to use. And Ubidots does a really nice job of that. So that's what I'm using for this demonstration, or what I've settled on for a lot of the things that we're building right now, both for demonstration purposes and for some of our customer engagements that we've got. So let's go ahead over to the dashboard and show you what I've created specifically for this setup. Now, this is one that is pretty simple. And as you look across the top, you'll see that we've got the acceleration values, X, Y, and Z. And this is the raw acceleration data coming right out of the accelerometer. So I'm not doing any kind of conversion to actual data or any kind of scaling, anything like that. I don't really care for the purpose of this demonstration. It's just the raw values coming out of the accelerometer. Down below that, we've got a row with the deltas for X, Y, and Z, and I'm doing an absolute value here. So even if it changes in a negative direction, I'm just doing an absolute value on that. So any changes you see are always going to be positive. It just made the graphing a little bit easier. Down below, we'll see the graphs of that data, so acceleration by axis. So this is the AX, AY, and AZ values that are showing up here. And down below, DX, DY, DZ over time. Now, this is only updating every 2 seconds, and so it's kind of slow. Again, the purpose here is to be able to demonstrate that you can feed data back from the Accelerate board and look at something visualized on the website. And we will build on this going forward, but I wanted to be able to demonstrate that. Up here, we've got a NeoPixel color controller, and I'm just going to give a quick demonstration of how that works. So down in the corner of the screen here, you can see the setup that I've got on my desk, and I've got the Accelerate connected to the Photon, and we talked about that, and I just want to do a couple of quick demonstrations. First of all, we can start with a control going out to the NeoPixel ring. I've got these 3 color faders, which we can adjust the color 0 to 255 for red, green, and blue, And we have to wait a couple of seconds here for that to update because of the way that it's being connected. It'll update, and now we've seen it turn kind of to a purple color. We draw the blue back, and we'll be able to see it go to full red. And I'm not going to go through, obviously, I'm not going to go through all of the possible color combinations, but it does give us full resolution of control. Now, one of the things that I've created as well, and we'll just go ahead and turn this to green in the interim, is I've added this random color enable slider. And what this will allow me to do is to be able to basically disregard the red, green, and blue. And when I set that, and wait here for just a second for the green to turn on, if I set that to 1, the next time it updates, it'll just pick a random color and it will update that NeoPixel ring to whatever color that we want. Now, the way that this is being controlled is I'm actually controlling the NeoPixel ring from the Accelerate board. So we're reading data from the accelerometer on Accelerate. We are controlling the NeoPixel ring on Accelerate. It all calls, all that data to and from are being transferred through the particle board across I2C. So that's my interface. I'm sort of treating the Photon as an I2C slave device that's sitting out there connected to Accelerate and just creating the Wi-Fi connection for me, and also handling talking to the Ubidots platform. And I really like using Particle for that reason, because they make some very nice utilities to be able to see when their devices are online and what they're doing, and I can actually trace the data through that part. It makes it very, very handy. They've done an awesome job of that. So let's take a look at the accelerometer value now. And so what we're going to do, and these values here, you'll see the NeoPixel ring just changed again. These are going to continue to change as we go about some of our other demonstrations here. So what I'm going to do is grab the accelerometer, and we're going to just start moving this around. And what you'll see when I move this guy is that we're going to see these values up here start to change. Keep in mind that it's only going to update every 2 seconds, because that's what's going on. The Accelerate board is going out and querying the accelerometer on a 2-second interval. It's getting the last values of this data, and then it's doing a compare to get the deltas and the changes. So we got the raw value, the change from the last value, and then it's pushing it out to the Photon through I2C, and the Photon is updating out to the Ubidots visualization, the Ubidots website. And so I'm just doing some relatively simple changes here. Keeping in mind, of course, that this is really set up for slow types of feedback. It's not, we're not reading back really quickly. If there was something you wanted to get fine resolution when it came to a lot of readings in a short period, or that was really important, that you could, of course, do that as well. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to set this down, because one of the things you'll notice is that up here, we are seeing the data change as I'm moving that accelerometer around. But one of the things that isn't really updating is this graph. So if you look at the time, you can see the last data here at 12:42, and up above here on my clock, you can see that it's 12:51, which means this graph hasn't updated recently. So I don't really understand why, and I've yet to get to the bottom of that. The refresh rate on this graphing tends to lag behind the actual data. So the data shows up, but it takes some time to get values out here on the graph. I need to check with Ubidots about that. And of course, if I refresh, it will show up. So the data's there. If I went and looked at the variable data, there's some menus I can go through to see it, and it'll actually be there. But I'm not sure why it updates. I'll have to find out. So anyway, if we update it, now we can see here's all the changes that I made as I was tinkering with it. And it's pretty cool, because you can kind of click along. You can see what all the values are at any given point in time. And so these are the raw values, and down here, of course, we can see the deltas between them. And so we'll just go back and do that one more time. Giving some love to Adafruit here. And we should be able to see the data changing up above. All right. And again, we're seeing this data change here, but the last reading we're not seeing here is, it's a minute ago, so that's not too bad. And so I'm just going to refresh that. There may even be some place where I can change what the refresh rate is on the graphs. And so I will take a look at that and see. One of the cool things we can do that Ubidots does, which makes it really nice, is I can change how many values I see. So I'm going to go up here and unlock this dashboard. And then I can actually edit. Let's see, I think I want to go to settings, right? So I can see what the most recent 100 points are, or I can see, for example, let's see, I'll set that to the last 50. And then that'll refresh this graph, and then we'll see the most recent 50. So it'll just kind of spread things out if we want to be able to get a finer look at what's going on here. And this one down here is on its own scale, so this is still going to show more data than the one above it does. I will change this to also just be the last 50 data points. And we'll allow that to spread out so that it's the same as above. And now we'll get a better look at the actual data. So what I'll do is move this around a little bit again. We'll get some changes out there. And what I'm looking for, I originally wanted to have something kind of fun to be able to bounce this around and do some cool stuff. And what I really wanted was a bobblehead doll to put this on so we could bounce that around. But I can't find one for the life of me anywhere. You'd think out at Shields or something like that, they would have had a Packers, at least a Aaron Rodgers bobblehead, but I couldn't find one. So if anyone feels like sending me a gift of a nifty bobblehead doll from your region or something you care about, I promise you I will remake this video and put this accelerometer on top of the bobblehead, and we'll bounce them around. Because I really wanted it sitting here on my desk, and even just the slight movement that I would do, I could capture with the bobblehead, and it would plot that data. So I moved it around a bit, and now I am going to go here and refresh, and we'll take a look at the data that it creates for us. So we had that little bit of a gap where I talked a long time, and then here's our data once again. So that's all I want to show you for today, and we're going to turn this off. We're going to take it back to blue to take us out of here with some, whoops, forgot that I could move that stuff around. We're going to take us back out of here with some Allorium colors on our NeoPixel ring. I hope that gives you a little bit of an idea of what we can do. The reason we're doing this is because we are positioning ourselves to get ready to show you some more interesting things as we are seeing industrial and commercial uses of Accelerate and our snowboard and what people are using them for. We want to give you guys an idea of some of the things you can do to take advantage of the power of the FPGA. Well, that's it for this video. Thanks for sticking it out with me today. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. You can go to our website at alloriumtech.com. From there, you can leave us a message. You can reach out to us through our forums. You can get links to our Facebook page or YouTube channel. And we love hearing from you guys. So if you have questions, let us know. And we hopefully will see you again soon. Thanks.